Hi, it's Joy, and today I'm going to be talking about Supergirl season 3, 4, I know what season this is, Supergirl season 4, episode 8, Bunker Hill. I am really sorry that there have been no reactions for DC. It's been one of those periods of time where I feel like life, it just hits you like a freight train. I've been having issues with just not time to record, and in the episodes when I did have time to record, there were technical issues, and I kept thinking, okay, next week I'm going to fix it. So this week, today, I had lots of time to sit down with Supergirl. I'm about to do Arrow. I finished watching Supergirl, reacting to it, I started to do my review, and I realised that it has stopped recording at some point. And then when I looked at the thing, the file was just completely corrupted, and I have no idea what happened and how it happened, so I'm really sorry about that. But I did have some things I wanted to talk about with this episode, and I thought, you know, I'm going to stop putting it off, especially as the next one's the crossover, so I'm just going to sort of talk about this arc of Supergirl a little bit, but mostly just about the episode that I just watched. So to be completely honest with you, this season of Supergirl is probably my least favourite season of Supergirl, but I still love Supergirl, so it's still like really up there. It's just compared with its other seasons, it's probably been the one that I personally am enjoying the least, and I'm sure that's different for other people. I think I find it quite hard because, you know, you've got the news and you see all the stuff about hatred and ignorance in the world, and then you turn on Supergirl, which is a show that's full of hope and optimism, and it's full of hatred and ignorance. And I know characters like Kara has not lost her optimism, but it has been shaken a little bit, and understandably. I think, you know, I try to be a fairly optimistic person in real life, and when you turn on the news it's quite hard sometimes to believe in people as a whole, but I still do. So I find, just personally for me, it's been a series that I'm not enjoying as much because it reminds me too much of the real world. And there are other shows like The Gifted where some of that hatred and fear that people have ignorantly against people they don't understand and people aren't like them, it's the DNA of the show. The Gifted wouldn't be The Gifted if you took that out. It would just be some people running around with powers. Whereas Supergirl wasn't that show, and it is this season. And this episode, foolishly, got my hopes up that that was going to be moved away from after Christmas, that we were going to lock Ben Lockwood up, and obviously there would still be the ripples and the repercussions of the hate because it doesn't just go away, but then maybe there was going to be a different focal point, and then the end of the episode did leave me a bit like, it's all even worse than it was to begin with. But on the whole, I am still really enjoying Supergirl, just, you know, if it makes sense that, like, this isn't my favourite. Of the 4 seasons, it's my 4th favourite, but compared to lots of shows on TV, most shows on TV, it's much better than them. It's hard. It's still my favourite DC show, but just the season of it is not my favourite. Ben Lockwood is quite an infuriating character. I think he's probably a very realistic character. He's a man who used to have better morals, but suffered some personal loss, and instead of dealing with that loss, just lashed out at whoever he decided was to blame. Then he got a little bit of taste of the limelight, and he got all his ego got stroked by that nice billboard that he parked in front of, you know. He's enjoying being famous, and then he thought, well, I don't need my crazy lunatics that I stirred up because just me is awesome. And then it all went wrong. I did think it was very funny when he made his dramatic speech to the press, like, I am unmasked and why won't Supergirl unmask? He didn't unmask himself. He designed a stupid mask. Like, if he truly believed what he said about Kara, or Supergirl should say who she is because I've said who I am, he never would have had the mask as Agent Liberty. He would have just been Ben Lockwood from the beginning, holding his rallies as Ben Lockwood. But he didn't, and they unmasked him, and then he turned it around on Supergirl somehow. I'm very glad that Kara did not let herself get pressured into revealing her identity by the president, who is also a stupid man who is just caring about his ratings. I'm glad that she had the strength to say no, because that is a huge daunting thing. It is putting her at odds with the people that she used to work with the US government, and who knows what actions they will take against her, especially when she continues to act as Supergirl, because of course she will. It did make me think though about Clark, because I know he's not in National City, he's in Metropolis, but as far as I'm aware, he is not working for the DEO, he just does his own thing, so surely Kara can do her own thing the same way. I don't know why National City has to be different to Metropolis, just because I guess there's a DAO base in National City, but surely Kara can just be Kara in the same way that Clark is able to just be Clark, or Supergirl should just be Supergirl in the same way that Superman can just be Superman. So there's going to be interesting going forward, but obviously we're going to have things, you know, like Alex and Brainy and people who still work at the DEO. If they help Kara, will they get in trouble? I'm intrigued about where that's going to go, and I assume we won't find out until after Christmas. But I do feel like this season Kara is kind of losing everything, and it's been quite interesting that I've seen a lot of people talking about this online as well, that every episode Kara gets overpowered. Now I know in this one, thank God, she was amazing. Like that scene where she just lifted the building to get out of the nth metal was amazing. It was epic. It was brilliant. I love Kara. I'm quite glad that someone else didn't have to come and save her, but it's been interesting. I'm hoping next season, next half season, because I'm pretty sure isn't it crossover then Christmas, I might be wrong, it might be another episode, but I'm hoping next half we're going to find out about the Russian Kara that's out there, and maybe that's going to become more of a vital plot line rather than the hate stuff can kind of, it'll be there because it's there, but just having it be the central plot of the show is quite depressing when the real world is already so depressing. But I was really glad when Ben Lockwood got locked up. I think realistically, you would have had, in the same way that I think in the first episode or the second episode of the season, they had the protesters who were saying, aliens are welcome here, we welcome everyone, and then you had the protesters saying, roaches should all leave. Outside the prison, there would have been people there to boo Lockwood as hero. There would have been people there to call him a monster and a murderer because he is. So I think, realistically, everyone isn't going to join into the alien hate group. There would be some people who would be feeling such fear and loss in their own lives that they would join the hate group, or just the malicious idiots. Then you'd have the people who kind of agreed with them but felt a bit uncomfortable because it was a hate group, who would just sit at home and not say anything either way. They might tweet a support in that way, or vice versa, they might tweet support the other way. And then you'd have the people that would go and protest against the intolerance and the ignorance and the fear. And I think that last scene made it seem very direly the other way. Then we have Manchester Black, who is a character that I cannot take seriously. I think the actor did it really well. Like, I enjoyed his portrayal of Manchester even as much as I don't particularly like Manchester. But British people don't name their children after places. It's very rare for that to be a thing. It's much more a thing in America, I've gathered from TV shows and from Americans that I've come across. You know, in England, no one would name their son Manchester, especially if he wasn't from Manchester, or especially if he was from Manchester. It's very strange that he would be called Manchester. It's just that he wouldn't be called Manchester. And again, British people don't, Americans from TV shows, maybe not in real life too, maybe American people will say to me, oh yeah, it's also not the thing here. It's not a thing here to wear the Union Jack. Like, there are clothes that have it on, but no one would wear it on every single outfit that they had. No one would put it on their knuckle dusters and then, you know, put it on his super suit, like everything. He's not Captain England. Not Captain Britain, because it was the Union Jack, not the English flag. It's ludicrous to me, the way he had the Union Jack on everything, and the fact that his name was Manchester when it wouldn't be, and the fact that this crazily proud British person who, you know, defies all logic and has the Union Jack everywhere would move away from Britain. If he loved it that much, he would definitely still be here. So it was quite strange to me as a character. That really jarred me, and I often find in TV shows the portrayal of British characters sometimes is quite hard to take them seriously. Often it's the way they speak, but Manchester wasn't too bad with that. You know, there weren't too many Britishisms any more than maybe there would be in a normal person, but he was a hard one to take. I just very clearly know British people were consulted. David Harewood and the actor that plays him, Manchester, I assume is actually English, were not consulted in how to dress Manchester Black, or I'm sure he's from the comics. I'm sure the name was stupid from the comics, but he wouldn't be called Manchester. Okay, so I am loving Nia. Nia is amazing. She is a brilliant addition to this show. I'm so glad we got her backstory. We had a little bit of backstory when she opened up to James earlier, but finding out, you know, that she's an alien and her dreams of the future and the fact that she could just have visions of the future sometimes, oh my goodness, I am so fascinated by Nia. I love her as a character, and she's still got that optimism and that hope that is so important to this show. It's in this show's DNA, and I don't want Supergirl to lose that as a show, and Nia is a wonderful dose of it. I think Kara could probably tell her who she is, because Nia is someone that they have seen they can trust. She's been quite vocal about having beliefs that align with Kara's, and she's also an alien, so she would definitely not be someone that would go against Kara or use Kara that information, although I suppose the argument would be that Nia would be in danger if she knew. But so I think it hopefully won't be too long before Nia does know, and I do really enjoy her interactions with Brainy, their dynamic, their relationship, whatever it is. I really enjoy them together, and I'm glad because, again, I still find Brainy an adjustment in the show. I'm actually enjoying him a lot more than I thought I would, but I still think his reason for being here was annoying, and the end of the last season just really irritated me, as we have discussed previously. But yeah, it was really enjoyable to find out finally more about Nia, to get some more flesh on her character and to really see her helping, and hopefully she can continue to do that. I'm hoping it's not going to be too much of the show with there being someone watching them in the DEO, and with Kara not being able to work there and the president popping in all the time. Like, I think superhero shows like this tend to work better when they are just in their little bubble and you just take for granted that all of the alien invasions take place in National City and not the rest of the world or country. So I hope that's not going to last forever. It can happen maybe, I guess, for the rest of the season, but Kara is amazing, and I think having her being second guest all the time, and Alex, you know, just got the leadership and now she's being second guest all the time, it's kind of like, and another thing which why on earth is Alex not actively seeking out adoption? I mean, that was her entire arc last season. That was the reason she broke up with Maggie. It was part of why she accepted the role as a director without fighting it, because it would mean that she wouldn't be on the front lines all the time and she could have children. And we've gone 8 episodes and she hasn't mentioned it. Have they just forgotten that? Because that was a part of Alex's character, and are we just forgetting season 3 happened apart from Brainy's existence? Is that what they're doing? I don't like it. I think by now, at least it would have been mentioned, even if it was a conversation with Kara in which Kara, you know, Alex said, oh, the paperwork's taking forever to go through, or, oh yeah, there's a huge waiting list. I don't know. I'm not happy that they haven't mentioned it since, because it was something that was such a big part of last season and such a big part of Alex's character. This next thing is something that is very personal to me and my opinion on the show. I am not saying that this is a blanket rule that everyone has to accept is the case. I remember I was watching last week's episode, and I just got hit by this wave of sadness because of all that could have been in this show. If Mon-El was in it, all the plot lines we could have had to do with this alien hate thing, with Kara having someone that we don't see anymore, Kara's thoughts on the day, Kara debriefing from the day. She does it a little bit with Alex like she always did, but she used to come home to Mon-El in season 2 and tell him everything about how she was feeling, and we got to touch base with Kara and really find where she was and just have someone that loved her and supported her. And Mon-El being an alien would also be something that he would come up against the hate. And in episode 2 or 1, whenever it was, when the alien bar was bombed, Mon-El used to work there, so again that would bring it home even more for Kara. I just think there's so much that this season would be enriched by still having Mon-El, and I can't see how it's been benefited in any way by not having him, because Kara, I mean, if Kara got a boyfriend this season it would be far too soon, because whatever anyone says, it was quite clear from when they were in Argon City together that she was still desperately in love with Mon-El. So I just think they've just ripped part of the show out and just patched up the room by throwing in some new characters. And I love Nia, I think she's a brilliant new character, but I feel like it's lacking some of the heart it used to have, and that heart was Kara and Mon-El, and just Mon-El's character. I think I don't like it. I think it's just a thing of, I'm still really enjoying the show. I'm not going to be, you know, if they'd killed Mon-El just to get rid of him, I might stop watching, but I wouldn't be like boycotting the show as such, just physically unable to keep watching because it made me so sad. So I'm not ever going to boycott the show, because even though they screwed us over last season, but I just, personally, to me, can't stop how sad I feel thinking of all that could have been this season and all that has been taken from the show by not having Mon-El. If you disagree with me, that's fine, but this is my channel and I just wanted to let everyone know that I'm just really sad about that still. It is not even just because I miss their relationship. I just think of all of the ways him being part of the dynamic of this alien hate story would just lift it, would just give it more, everything. There would just be so many good things, you know. I almost feel like I need to sit down and write a fan fiction of having Mon-El in every episode, because then it would just be a better version of the season. But that's just me, and I'm not going to dwell too much on that. I've tried not to mention Mon-El too much throughout all of the episodes when I've been reacting to them, even though some of those have got glitched and gone. I'm not going to constantly go on about it, but I just wanted to here, and I probably will mention it again because I feel very strongly about it. And then lastly, the crossover, the teaser at the end for the crossover was very intriguing. Earth 90, I'm not sure, have we ever involved with Earth 90 before? Has that been a thing? Obviously that was the Flash, that he's been in the Flash, but is he the one that had been in the Flash, or is he another one that looks like that? Because who knows with all these different Earths. I'm sure it will be in the crossover, if they all know him, it will be revealed. And the guy with the book, and then he said, you know, oh, now you're all going to die. I'm so excited for the crossover. If something happens and there's a glitch again next week, I will definitely be reviewing the crossover, but fingers crossed everything's going to go fine. I'm going to try and react to Arrow in a minute. So yeah, that was a good episode of Supergirl. I loved it, and then the end for me was a little bit disappointing, just because I was hoping we were going to start branching a little bit more away from the hate, still having it being a part of this season because it's going to be a part of the season, but I was hoping that it would take more of a backseat, and then instead they elevated the hate, they escalated it. So but Kara is still everything. The way she lifted that building, I love her so much. She's just such an important character to have, and that's why I don't want the show to get too bogged down in the negativity and the hatred of the world, because you need someone like Kara to get you through it. So yes. Oh, before I go, one more thought. And I think when you had Manchester saying, I'm the far left, or whatever, someone like him should be in prison for his crimes. Or like, he's wrong. You know, let's just go and murder all of the people on the far right because they're evil isn't the way to go. The right way to go is to find compassion for each other, but also to hold them to account. You know, you can't just say, like, have compassion for someone who's an extremist right-wing person and forgive everything they've ever done. You have to kind of hold them to account for what they're doing, but treat them fairly. And I think that's what Kara does, that's what our characters want to do, and that's what I hope the show's going to move towards going forwards. So I'm really sorry this wasn't a reaction. Technology is just, I was feeling so good today. I was like, yes, I have time, I'm going to react to it. I'm only a day behind, everything's great, and then there was a glitch. So I'm really sorry about that, and I will definitely be doing a video for the crossover, but everything crossed, it will be a reaction. Thank you for watching.